Ahoy from BA! This is the Rorschach Ocean update from the 27th of August 2024, a summary of what's going down in the 70% surface of the Earth covered in salt water. This week, Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, will attend the Pacific Islands Forum, or PIF, in Tonga, focusing on climate change and ocean-related issues. The 18 nations members of the PIF gathered to address key concerns like New Caledonia's future and a regional policing initiative. Guterres emphasized the urgency of limiting the rise of global temperature to protect the Pacific Ocean, which faces extreme weather and record ocean heat waves. The forum will also focus on geopolitical tensions with rising influence from the US and China in the region. A major point of contention is deep-sea mining, with the island of Vanuatu pushing to halt seabed exploitation until environmental safeguards are established. The PIF has also a strong symbolic importance. Ivanansi Vunikura, the first female Fijian sailmaster, led a challenging week-long voyage aboard the traditional vessel Utoni Yalo to the Pacific Islands Forum. Facing intense winds and 4-meter swells, Vunikura navigated the crew safely to New Kolafa, symbolizing regional unity. Despite initial skepticism from male colleagues, she earned their respect with her expertise. Vunikura, who is passionate about the ocean and preserving indigenous navigation knowledge, now plans to teach traditional sailing and canoe building in Tonga, encouraging more women to take up roles in maritime traditions. From the Pacific to the Atlantic Ocean, this summer, Hurricane Ernesto impacted the U.S. Atlantic coast with dangerous rip currents, leading to beach closures and 3 fatalities. The storm, which previously caused flooding and power outages in Puerto Rico and Bermuda, brought high waves and storm surges from North Carolina. By mid-August, Ernesto had evolved into a powerful post-tropical cyclone over the North Atlantic. This season's high storm activity, including Ernesto as the 5th named storm, follows a record-breaking previous year. Forecasters rely on the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration satellites for real-time tracking and forecasting. Still in the Atlantic, a pod of long-finned pilot whales surrounded the solo paddler Tom Warrington during his Atlantic crossing. Initially, Warrington, who was traveling from Newfoundland to England, felt thrilled by the sight of the whales playing around his boat. However, the situation became tense when one whale bumped into his vessel, causing him to momentarily drop his camera and pause filming. Despite his initial excitement, the collision raised his fears about the potential damage to his rudder. After the whales eventually moved on, Warrington was able to resume his journey. Whales are not the only marine animals scaring humans lately. A sexually frustrated dolphin in central Japan has been attacking beachgoers in Wakasa Bay, leaving over 45 people injured since 2022. The dolphin has been observed attempting to press its genitals against people, displaying aggressive mating behavior. Despite efforts by Japanese authorities to keep swimmers safe with underwater acoustic devices and warning signs, the attacks have continued. Marine experts caution that while dolphins may seem playful, they are still wild animals and can be dangerous. Let's sail to the Indian Ocean. Drug trafficking networks exploit the Indian Ocean's vast, unregulated waters, making it a hotspot for illegal activities. As explained in the analysis published by Modern Diplomacy on Friday the 23rd, the ocean's role as a major trade route and its legal status as international waters contribute to difficulties in enforcement and control. Key sources of narcotics include the Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle regions. Smugglers exploit legal gaps and geopolitical instability. Regional and international efforts, such as the Indian Ocean Rim Association and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes Southern Route Partnership, aim to combat the trade. In other news, this year, China bolstered its Arctic ambitions by deploying 3 advanced icebreakers, including the Shuelong-2 and Jai-Dai. These vessels will enhance China's ability to explore new trade routes and conduct scientific research as Arctic ice diminishes. They are capable of navigating ice up to 1.5 meters thick, almost 5 feet, and are long-term autonomous and highlight China's commitment to Arctic exploration. Meanwhile, Russia and the US are also expanding their icebreakers fleets, intensifying the competition in the Arctic region. China's efforts show its strategy to increase influence and capitalize on emerging opportunities in the Arctic region. From one pole to the other, researchers have found that the Thwaites Glacier, known as the Doomsday Glacier, isn't melting as fast as earlier predictions suggested, although it is still shrinking quickly. The United Nations had forecasted a dramatic rise in global sea levels due to a potential collapse of this glacier, but a new study published on Wednesday the 21st in the scientific journal Science Advances indicates that the glacier might not collapse within this century. Despite this, the glacier's retreat continues to contribute significantly to the sea level rise, posing a serious threat to coastal areas. On another note, the Panama Canal reaffirms its commitment to both national water supply and maritime service. As we talked about in previous shows, despite a severe drought earlier this year that affected key reservoirs, the canal's workforce implemented strategies to conserve water and maintain operational efficiency. As of Thursday the 15th, it increased the maximum draft for vessels to 15 meters or 50 feet. The canal, which connects 180 maritime routes globally and handles nearly 3% of world trade, continues to invest in maintenance and sustainability. It plans to build a reservoir in the Indio River basin to address future water's needs and support Panama's drinking water supply. Moving on, an article in The Guardian, published on Monday the 19th, highlighted how the debate on deep-sea mining in the Taranaki region in New Zealand's south heats up as Trans-Tasman Resources, or TTR, pushes to extract iron sands from the area, despite strong community oppositions. TTR's plan involves using a large underwater machine to collect and process iron sands. However, local groups, including fishers and environmentalists, argue that mining could damage marine ecosystems and disrupt fishing. TTR says that its projects will have minimal environmental impact and boost the economy, but critics stress that the potential harm to delicate marine environments outweighs the benefits. With the government leaning towards supporting resource development, environmental groups vow to continue their resistance. Let's talk about ocean pollution. On Wednesday the 21st, the European Commission promoted on its website the One Blue project, funded by Horizon Europe, which actively investigates the impact of emerging contaminants in the ocean. The project has already conducted initial research in the Arctic Ocean and Irish Sea, with plans for additional studies in the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. The Arctic campaign, led by the Alfred Wegener Institute, collected 484 samples from various sources to assess climate change impacts. The Irish Sea campaign, involving Dublin City University and other institutes, focused on chemical pollutants and microplastics. The project continues this summer in the North Adriatic Sea, collecting diverse samples to deepen understanding of ocean pollution. Closing with water sports. Emirates Team New Zealand ensured victory at the Louis Vuitton preliminary regatta in Barcelona, Spain on Sunday the 25th after an exciting final against Luna Rosa Prada Pirelli. The final showcased high-level match racing with both teams pushing boundaries from the start. Peter Burling, New Zealand's skipper, expressed satisfaction with the performance despite challenging conditions and a tense race. Meanwhile, American Magic handed New Zealand their first defeat of the regatta, demonstrating exceptional skill. Alinghi Red Bull Racing also battled hard against Luna Rosa, though the Italians ultimately prevailed. As the regatta concluded, teams turned their focus to the upcoming Louis Vuitton Cup, starting on Thursday the 29th. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. We've been doing these updates for quite a while now, and we are curious. What do you think? Have you been tuning in with us from the start, or are you a recent listener? How did you find about us? We value your thoughts and would love to hear from you. Also, we are committed to keeping our updates ad-free. So if you enjoy them and would want to support us financially, there's a link in the show notes where you can contribute. If you can't do that, spread the word about us would be amazing as well. Thank you. See you next week.